So thanks for coming today to All Levels Yoga. We're going to work today on variations of triangle pose a little bit. So let's go ahead and lay down on the back and start in a centering meditation. If you don't have blocks handy, then we're going to use blocks today. So if you have blocks or a block substitute, that's helpful. But if not, we'll work through it. For now, we're going to start on the back. In Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of feet come together, knees splay open, palms are going to rest facing up alongside the body. And so you just check in with how that feels as you start arriving in your practice. You can squeeze your gluteals on for a second and then just let them gradually release and soften. And if this feels too tense on your lower back or hips, then you can step your feet on the ground and take constructive rest pose with knees knocking in, or you can let your legs extend. Whatever feels the most comfortable for your back and hips today. And we're going to close eyes as you're ready for that. Take a body scan. From the crown of the head, let the awareness pass down along the curves of the spine. The back of the ribs resting into the ground. The natural curve of the lower back. The femur bones resting into the hip sockets. And we begin to relax and soften any tension along the brow line, the center of the eyebrows. And in the lower jaw, you relax the lower jaw so the teeth are slightly parted. Just stay here. Letting the collarbones be very broad and open. Start to notice the natural breath today. The breath moving in and out of your nose in its natural rhythm. And anytime your mind starts to wander off or get distracted, you guide the focus back to your breath and back to this practice, back to your body right now. Relax the center of the throat. The center of the ribs. And let's go ahead and take the right hand. We're going to rest the right hand on your chest. Left hand just below the belly button, feeling the hands connect to the body. You can offer to self any affirmation for today that you want to cultivate inside your energy field. Something like, I am strong, or I am healthy. I am present. I am receptive. Anything that comes to mind that you want to cultivate more of. Begin to deepen the breath a little more. So you inhale and expand the belly, the ribs, the chest. And you exhale, soften the chest, ribs, belly, hugging back toward the spine. Inhaling belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly, emptying out the exhale. Feel this little containment of the core at the bottom of the exhale as you draw the ribs in. And then as you inhale, you're going to extend your legs out straight and long on the floor and reach your arms up overhead. Take a full body stretch. Feeling the curve of the back accentuate. And then go ahead and hug your right knee in towards your body with hands in the knee crease or in front of the shin. And we're going to hug that right thigh toward the side rib And the left inner thigh is wrapping down toward the earth. We're just holding there for a moment. We're going to circulate slowly the right knee out to the right a few degrees, and then back to center and across the body a couple degrees. Just starting to warm up really gradually in that right hip. So notice how that right hip feels today. And as you slowly circulate the right knee around, really moving the head of that right femur bone around in the hip. And you keep relaxing or gently pressing the left inner thigh down toward the earth. And then as you bring that right knee back to center, give a little bit of a hug more toward the right side, and then extend the right sole of the foot toward the sky, and the hands can be behind the thigh bone or up behind the calf. And you're gonna really strongly flex the feet. You're gonna turn the toes out just a couple degrees. It's really subtle. And then you're gonna turn the toes in toward each other a couple degrees and out a couple degrees. We're just trying to explore a little bit of internal and external rotation of the femurs in the hip sockets. It's very, very subtle action. So when you turn the toes out, it's like you have pigeon-toed a little bit, and then you turn the toes in, and you feel the sacrum kind of broadens there. And then come back to center, and we flex the feet. You're gonna bring that right entire leg a little bit closer toward the body. You don't have to force. Keep relaxing that right lower back into the ground. And if you keep the right second toe in alignment with the center of the knee, and then if you turn your left toes out to about a 45, then we have pretty much the alignment of the legs in a triangle pose, except we're here on the back. Slowly, when you're ready, you're gonna step your left foot onto the ground and then cross that right leg over on top. So the right thigh touches on top of the left thigh, and you're gonna open your arms out to a cactus and bring the legs over toward a gentle twist. So the right inner knee moves over and down to the left. You keep softening your right shoulder in toward the body, and you can gaze to look to the right. Unless your neck feels really tight, you can keep the chin neutral. It's gonna breathe in that twist for a couple of breaths, feeling the inhale expand in the belly. And then when you exhale, there's that little containment of the belly back toward the spine. Keep softening in the center of the eyebrows and the jaw and the throat. And then with control and containment in the core, you're gonna start to hug the knees back into center, uncross and take a full happy baby, elbows on insides of knees, hands are reaching toward the shins or the ankles or the feet, and the soles of feet face the sky. Shoulder blades relax down, and the tip of the tail can hook a little bit toward the belly as you draw the knees a little more toward the floor alongside the ribs. And then you can release and let the lower back soften. And we're gonna slowly release the soles of the feet onto the floor. Feel the feet press into the ground. Have your hands rest on the belly and pick up the pelvis a little bit toward a baby bridge pose. You don't have to go too extreme. Just keep rooting through the feet. And we're gonna inhale to fill the belly and exhale to slowly, slowly, slowly melt the spine all the way to that sacral plane, the triangular space at the base of the spine, and we let the tailbone relax last. And then extend one leg out, and then extend the other leg out. Reach both arms overhead. Take a big full stretch. You find an inhale, we fill the belly, and then exhale, hug your left knee in toward the side body. Gather the hands in front of the shin or in the knee crease. You give that light hug, and you keep lengthening the left sitting bone straight ahead toward the front of your mat. And start to circulate the left knee out to the left a few degrees and back to center and across the body a couple degrees. And circulate around that left knee a few times. How does the left hip feel today? Any different sensations in the side? Just being curious. Being curious about whatever you notice. And then as you bring that left knee back to center, take a little pause, give a hug. And then extend the left sole of the foot up toward the sky, and your hands can be behind the thigh bone or up toward the calf, as long as you're able to keep the shoulder blades relaxing down. And we're gonna actively flex the feet. So you wrap that right inner thigh down. And you can maintain like that little micro bend in the left knee so that it's not this really hyperextension of the left knee. There's that little give of the left knee. Turn the toes out a couple degrees like you're doing a little pigeon toe. You might imagine that your feet are connecting onto an imaginary floor. You turn the toes in a little bit and then out and then in. So the inner thighs are kind of rolling forward toward the front of your mat. And then you turn the toes out and the inner thighs can move up toward your body energetically. And then find the place back in the center. The second toe on your left foot's about in alignment with the center of the knee. Turn your right toes out a couple degrees. And if you imagine your feet pressing into imaginary floor, the similar position. And when we go into triangle pose, it's a similar shape that we're looking for in the femurs and in the legs. Good, and then step your right foot onto the floor and slowly cross your left leg over on top. Let the knees drape over to the right. If it's too much to keep the legs crossed, you can uncross. You're gonna take a cactus arm, spill the gaze to the left. Couple breaths there. Let the shoulder blades soften in toward the body. It's a nice moment to let go of anything you want to release, even if for a second you can even say in your mind, I let go of stress. I let go of tension or fear or whatever you want to release for this moment into the ether. And then with some tone in the belly, you're going to contain the ribs and hug the knees back into center and uncross. Come into full happy baby, elbows on insides of knees, hands are reaching toward the ankles or the outer edges of the feet. Shoulders drop. You can rock gently side to side. As you rock to the right, you could explore extending your right leg a little more straight, touching the toes toward the earth. And then as you rock to the left, you could explore extending that left leg a little more towards straight with the left toes moving toward the earth a little. And just do that a couple times back and forth as you go to the right leg extends. As you go to the left leg extends. So just start to get a little bit into the inner thigh groins. So as all the while connecting to the breath. And then as we come back to center, we're gonna take a pause, interlace the hands back behind the head, point the elbows toward the sky and scoop the head off the ground, hook the tail toward the face. So we're toning the lower belly. And then while you're here, you're gonna squeeze the knees together and extend the legs up toward the sky. And then open your arms out to a T. And let the legs fall away from your body just a little bit so you feel a little more of a lower back curve. And you're just turning on that lower belly, engaging the lower belly, and slowly you're gonna bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet onto the ground. Separate the feet a little bit. Scoot your heels closer toward your sitting bones. Press through the feet, lift up the pelvis, coming toward a bridge pose with arms to a T. Then reach the arms overhead, sweep the arms overhead. Lengthen the tail toward the space between the knees. And we're gonna inhale to fill the belly, the ribs, the chest. And then exhale, start to slowly lower down, upper back, center back, lower back resting. Release the arms out into cactus shape. Take the feet a little wider and start to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. So you can pause anywhere that feels good as you windshield wiper. And when the knees windshield wiper to the right, go ahead and roll all the way over onto your right hand side. And you're gonna rest your head on the crook of the arm. You can rest your left hand on the ground. Set your intention for practice here. What do you want to cultivate here in the remainder of practice today? What can help inspire the effort you put in today? Keeping that in mind, use your left hand very slowly. We're gonna press our way on up. We're gonna find a comfortable Sukhasana, easy seat. Finding a cross-legged seat. We're going to bring the hands to heart center, bringing the thumbs to the center of the chest. Let's take a moment to honor each other, this practice, and all of our intentions with the sound of an Om on the exhale. Om. Slowly, we're going to extend the arms out to a T with the palms facing the floor. We're going to reach the palms up on the inhale, arch your spine a little bit. And then when you exhale, you're going to flip the palms to face the earth, and you can round the spine and bring the chin toward your body. Just going to work with that a couple times with the outer knees moving toward the floor. Inhale, palms up. Exhale, roll. Backs of hands face the earth, chin toward chest. And one more inhale. And then exhale, you're going to lean forward and reach the hands back behind, interlace the fingers. You're going to spread your heart forward and keep tracking your knuckles toward the back wall. And then drop the tail, and you're going to gather the knees in, step your feet on the floor. Give your feet a nice press, and then extend the legs out straight. Reach your arms forward and up. Inhale, feet are flexed. Exhale, you're going to reach toward the toes. And take a moment to fold in Paschimottanasana. Now, the knees can have that little bit of a give. And then as you drop the tail, you're going to sit up and start to slide your right heel toward your sitting bone. Right foot's going to press. You're going to gather your hands around the sole of your right foot and then lift your heel. You may be able to lift your right foot a little bit and then start to extend your right leg a little more straight. So that left inner thigh is rolling toward the ground, and you can lift the elbows up a little bit, and you're going to feel this right femur dropping down into the hip. Good. Keep your right hand on the outside edge of the right foot. Reach your left arm up alongside the ear. And lean forward just a little bit. So both sitting bones are connecting to the ground. And then take your left hand to the arch of your right foot, and then reach your right arm up and look to the right. Reach up through the right baby finger. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Now fold your face toward your right shin, any degree. Exhaling out, and then bend your right knee, step your right foot back on the ground, give it a press, and then extend your right leg out. Reach both arms up. Inhale, you can lift your knees a little bit, and then exhale, fold, belly melts toward the thighs. Any degree we fold toward Paschimottanasana, just for a full round of breath or two. You don't have to try to push or force. We're just early in the practice yet. And very slowly, the tailbone roots toward the ground. You're going to sit up and slide your left heel in toward the sitting bone. Give it a nice press, and then gather your hands on the sole of the left foot and lift your heel. That could be a fine place to stay. Maybe able to lift the leg a little more towards straight. So again, we're replicating a little bit the triangle legs. We're working to lengthen the torso from the hips up to the underarms. Keep your left hand on the outside edge of the left foot. Reach your right arm up alongside the ear. Good. Yep. And you're looking forward. You're going to inhale, reach up, lengthen up through that right side like you're reaching your hand toward the sky. And then take your right hand onto the sole of that left foot and take your left hand up, turn to the left, look to the left. Yep. The right thigh bone is heavy. Relax your face. Inhale, reach up through that left side. Exhale, take the hand back to the outside edge of the foot or the ankle. Open your elbows and start to bring your face toward your leg, any degree. Good. Exhale out, and then slowly release your left foot down. Heels pretty closely folded to the sitting bone. Give a press, and then extend your left leg out. Take your heels a little wider apart. Take them to a nice V, whatever amount V is available, and walk your hands to the right. You can let the left toes turn in a little bit and the left sitting bone lift. You look over your right shoulder. Inhale deep into that left thigh bone. And then exhale, roll back to center, sitting bones ground. Walk your hands to the left. This right toe can turn in a little. The right sitting bone can lift. You look over the left. Breathing. Inhale deep down into that right thigh bone. And then exhale back to center. Reach both arms up. Good. Reach up, reach up. Reach the right hand up like you're stretching up toward the sky, like you're kind of picking apples. Apple picking season. You can pretend we're picking apples. You're going to reach up through the left side, pick up through the right side. It's like you're reaching up to pick apples, getting long through the side waist. You're breathing. Good. And then come back to center. Reach both arms up. Inhale and exhale. Fingertips to the ground. Now you can stay there for a second, or you may be able to walk the hands a little bit forward, just to the edge where we're just exploring how those inner thigh groins react as you move the torso forward a little bit. If they start to seize up, you just pause, ease out, and breathe. And gradually we're folding forward into this Upavista. And we'll just take another round of breath or so. Softness in the neck and jaw. And then very slowly walk your hands back toward the pubic bones. Hands are going to come under the thighs, and we're going to use the hands to lift up and slide the feet together, holding for a moment here. Bring the big toes to touch. Bring the knees to touch. Squeeze the knees in. And then cross either ankle on top. Pull through into tabletop position. You're going to find our way onto all fours. And when you inhale, you're going to let the belly hang, spread the heart. And then exhale, we're going to round. Chin toward chest. Good. And then inhale, drop. And then exhale, round. Just one more time through that flow. On the inhale, the belly hangs. And on the exhale, we round. And then we're going to come back to a neutral and extend your right leg back with the toes tucked underneath. And then you're going to extend your left arm straight forward, like you're reaching your left fingertips toward the front of the room. And then you're going to rotate to turn that left thumb down, and then rotate that left palm open like the arm of a clock, all the way open, and then back to this tabletop with the hands. Bring the right knee toward your chin and round your spine. Take a big inhale in the back body. And then exhale, extend the right leg straight back. Now we're going to spin the right heel down and reach your right arm forward alongside the ear. And then rotate that right arm open in a big circle and push through the outside edge of your right foot. And then slowly turn the right hip point down, come back into a tabletop. We're going to extend the left leg back. Good. Keep lifting the belly. Reach your right arm forward. You're stretching a line from the outside edge of that left heel all the way through the right fingers. You're lengthening the right side body. And then rotate, right thumb down. Let the left hip point drop as you start to, like the arm of a clock, slowly spiral that right arm up and overhead. And then place the right hand back down where it was. Bring the knee toward the nose, lift the belly. Exhale, lifting the belly toward the spine. And then extend the left leg back. Spin the left heel down. Reach your left fingertips forward toward the front of the room. We're up and overhead. And then slowly spiral that left baby finger open. Nice big circle with that left arm. And then turn the left hip point down. Return into tabletop. Bring your knees together, your big toes to touch. You're going to walk your hands back to sit toward the heels. Toes are tucked. If it's too much, you can always stand up on the knees. If you're able to sit on the heels, that's great. Press the palms forward and up. Get nice and long through the side ribs. And sway a little bit to the right. And sway a little bit to the left. Nice long line from back of head down to tail. You can also Come back to center. Think of the nose right over the navel. Press the palms up and then release your cactus arm. Come back to a tabletop. Walk your hands forward and we're going to come all the way down onto the belly. Make your way onto your belly. Take your palms under the elbows. We're going to press down through the top of your left foot. Lift your right inner thigh. Let's lift that right top of the foot off the ground. Inhale and then exhale, lay that right leg long. Press through the top of your right foot. Lift your left inner thigh. Lift that left leg up. Inhale, exhale, lay that leg long. Let's do one more each side. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Now rooting through the pelvis, lift both feet up. You can hover your hands off the ground. And then you're gonna reach your hands straight back, thumbs down into locust. Shoulders grounding down onto the back. Inhale, you fill the belly with space. Exhale, release palms under elbows. We're gonna tuck the toes. Now you can float back into an active child with knees bent, and then looking toward your knees, lift your knees and fan the sitting bones up into a downward facing dog. First downward dog of this practice. Good. Pedaling your feet. Opening up the back channels of your legs. And shaking the head out a little bit, yes. Okay. Good, now you step your feet a little closer together. Keeping that left outer heel grounding toward the earth, we're gonna swing the right heel straight up toward three-legged dog. So we're not gonna open the right hip. We're just swinging that right heel up in a straight line with the knee and the hip. And the right inner thigh is lifting up into the body. And we're flexing the right foot. Yep. So we're gonna inhale there. When you exhale, we're gonna lift the belly and roll into a plank pose. If you can hover that right foot off the ground for a second, great. And then release the right toes. Either modify to knees or hug the elbows in, lower all the way down, coming onto the belly. Take your feet flat. Drag your palms to the earth for a cobra pose. Shoulders down and back on the inhale. And then lower your heart, tuck your toes. You can come back through child's pose toward your downward dog, or right up to downward dog in your own time. The feet step in a little closer. Swing that left heel straight up with the left inner thigh gathering up toward the body, and the right hip crease spirals around toward the sitting bone. Flex, flex through that left foot. And then as you inhale, you're gonna roll forward onto the right toes. Feel that left femur plug into the body. Hover that left foot off the ground for a second, then release. You can either modify to knees or lower down, chaturanga, lay down onto the belly. Take the feet flat. This time, instead of cobra, we're gonna stretch the arms back, thumbs down, or interlace the fingers with palms separated and track your knuckles toward the back wall. And we keep feeling this length of the side ribs. We inhale deep into the belly, and then exhale, release. Take your palms under the elbows, tuck your toes, come back to downward dog again in your own time. It's 2 or 3 breaths. Stretching long from the pinky fingers all the way up through the hip creases. Deepening the V of the hip creases toward the pubic bones, toward the sky. From here, we're gonna lift the heels high, come all the way up onto your tiptoes. Deeply bend your knees and keep lifting the sitting bones as you walk forward, all the way forward between your thumbs, toward the top of your mat. And then fold forward, let your head go in Uttanasana. Hands can be on the floor, blocks, or hands can gather behind your calves, and you let the head spill. Good, now we're gonna drop the tail, press through the feet, gather the belly, and on the inhale, slowly reach the arms forward and up, reaching up through the fingertips, and then exhale, release the arms out to a T. So you're gonna extend the fingertips out like you're reaching the fingertips toward either wall, and then at the same time, you're hugging the arms into the body. And we're gonna rotate the palms up on the inhale, arch your back, and then exhale, you're gonna rotate, spin the backs of the hands down, look down. Let's do that a couple of times. Inhale, palms up. Look up, exhale, look down towards your belly button. Inhale, look up. And exhale, release. Release your hands back behind you, interlace the hands, track the knuckles down, lift your center of your chest. You can look up, inhale into the belly, exhale to neutral chin. We're gonna shift into the right foot and we're gonna lift the left foot off the ground for a little balance. Now, this is a perfectly fine place to stay balancing on one foot. If it's available, you can start to bend your right knee, cross your left ankle on top of that right thigh for this standing figure four. Holding there. You may be able to sit down and back a little more. And then slowly we're gonna unwind and step that left foot on the ground. Shift into your left foot, lift your right foot off the ground. Perfectly fine to stay there. Or you're gonna cross that right ankle on top of the left femur bone, start to bend at the knee, drop the tail and sit back a little into a standing figure four. And then slowly release that right foot back to the earth. Take the feet a little wider, shake your hands off. We're gonna have blocks ready at the top of the mat, 2 blocks at the highest height. So if you don't have your block or your block substitute ready, get them ready. So we're gonna reach the arms straight out from the heart, give the palms a press, and then start to extend the palms up overhead. When you inhale, you can look up at the thumbs, and then exhale, bring the hands down through heart center and release your hands onto the blocks at the very highest height. Bring the blocks around to the baby toe sides of your feet. You're gonna step your left foot back, spin your left heel down. Now, I want you to take a little bit of a shorter stance here than you normally would, just for experiment's sake. A little bit of a shorter stance. We spin the outer left heel down. You're gonna bend your right knee. We're gonna press through the outer left foot and come on up into a warrior one with a shorter stance. So the left outer edge of the foot can easily come onto the earth. And you're gonna straighten the right leg, reach up, exhale, bend, and then you're gonna lean forward and reach up, extending through the sideways, reach up and forward through the fingertips. And then straighten the front leg, drop the tail, inhale, reach up. And then exhale, bend, and lean forward. Inhale, reach up, shift the weight a little more into your left heel. And then bend and go ahead and release your hands onto the blocks at the highest height. So we have this shorter stance. We have about heel to heel alignment. Now in this shorter stance, we're gonna straighten the right leg. Wrap the right sitting bone toward the left sitting bone. The 2 sitting bones are moving toward each other. The knees have a little give. The right block at the highest height is very close to the outside edge of your right heel. And then you're gonna keep this same kind of soft position of this left hip dropping down. Wrap your right belly toward your left belly and start to extend your left arm up into this shorter legged Trikonasana. So the feet are rooted. Now make a fist with your left hand and bring the fist toward the heart. And then inhale, open the arm up. And then exhale, make that fist toward the heart. You can look down toward your foot. And then inhale, open that left arm up. And then exhale, we're gonna release. Release your left hand down to the block, swing your left heel over the toes. Make your stance a little longer now. Scooch that left foot back, bring the left knee down. You can hold here. You can pad your left knee with a blanket if you need to. If it feels comfortable, hands can come to the right thigh. You may be able to reach your arms up overhead for a crescent lunge. And we're gonna inhale and exhale, hands frame the foot, coming onto the blocks. We're gonna slide the right leg back. Take your feet flat. We're gonna come toward a child's pose and we're gonna take the blocks onto the ground. Bring the blocks a little closer toward you so you can take your elbows on the blocks. Now you want the blocks spaced enough that you can point your fingertips toward the sky, and then you can start to drop your head down between the blocks And if and only if it feels available, you can point that prayer mudra, Anjali mudra, toward your tailbone. And you're really getting into that all underneath the tricep area, the arms, and taking a few smooth, steady breaths there. Filling the belly, expanding the belly so that you feel the breath filling into the back ribs. And then you exhale to empty out the breath completely. Nice. Now very slowly, we're gonna release the fingertips forward. And we're gonna take the blocks and press them forward so they're available at the front corners of the mat. Then you're gonna snake your body all the way down onto the belly, come down onto the belly. We're gonna take locust pose, rooting the pelvis, and inhale, everything else lifts up. If it's available, you could interlace the fingers, spread the baby toes. Imagine a block between the inner thighs that you're squeezing with the inner thighs. Inhale, fill the belly. Exhale, release palms under elbows, tuck your toes. We're gonna float back toward downward facing dog. 2 or 3 smooth breaths there, finding the lower back length. Feeling the containment of the ribs in on the exhale and the expansion of the 3D torso on the inhale. Now we're gonna lift the heels high, come onto tiptoes, bend your knees, begin to walk all the way forward toward the top of your mat. And then fold in Uttanasana. You can always have the blocks under your hands, or the hands are gonna wrap behind the calves, or the palms can come all the way to the floor. We're gonna take a full inhale in the belly, and then exhale, let it out. Pressing through the feet, drop the tail, inhale, reach the arms overhead. Give the palms a nice press, and we're gonna lift the heels and come up onto tiptoes. Tailbone dangling toward the earth. One more inhale. Exhale, lower your heels. Hands are gonna come down through heart center. You're gonna bend your knees, and you're gonna take your hands down to the blocks at their very highest height, right along the outside edges of the feet. Step your right foot back. It's a shorter stance than you normally would take, so that both feet really feel anchored. When both feet are really pressing, drop the tail, reach the arms forward and up. Feel the shift of the weight a little into that right foot as you straighten the front leg. That's an inhale. And we're gonna exhale, bend, left knee over the ankle joint, reach forward. So we're looking for length along the side bodies. And then we're gonna inhale, straighten and reach up. And then we're gonna exhale, bend and lean. One more time, inhale, straighten, reach up. Exhale, bend and lean, and the hands are gonna come down onto your blocks at the highest height. Now you're gonna straighten that front leg all the way. You really feel both feet connecting to the earth. Wrap the left belly toward the right belly, and you can start to extend your right arm up. Now, if that feels too much on your neck or back, then you can have your right hand just rest on the hip. So there's an imaginary tether from the bottom of the chin to the sternum, and we start to turn and look up at the hand. And then make a fist with your right hand, bring the fist toward the front of your chest. Good. So you can work with that a couple times. Inhale, you open the palm, and then fist, bring the fist toward the chest. On the exhale, almost like you're kind of punching into your chest a little bit. One more time, inhale, and then exhale, pressing in. Release your right hand onto the block, swing your right heel over the toes. You're gonna touch the right knee down with the back toes tucked. And then hands can come to the left thigh, and we're gonna reach the arms up to take crescent lunge. Anjaneyasana. You're reaching up through the fingers. Inhale, you can look up, and then exhale, belly in, hands frame the front foot, hands are on the blocks. You're gonna slide that left leg back. At this time, you're gonna bring the knees very wide, big toes touch, take the blocks at their lowest setting and bring them a little closer. And again, with the elbows on the blocks, inch the elbows forward, fingertips point up. Face is gonna melt down between the blocks. And if and only if it feels okay, you start to point your fingertips toward the tip of the tail. And there you're gonna hold and breathe. Feel the line from the elbow tip all the way back through the hip creases. Good. So from here, you're gonna press down through the elbows, start to point the fingers up toward the sky, and then take your hands onto the blocks, slide them forward and away, and then snake your body forward, come all the way down onto the belly. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're gonna take, rooting through the pelvis, you're gonna take locust pose, or interlace the fingers, or you can bend your knees, reach around for the tops of the feet, taking Dhanurasana. Soft elbows, neutral chin, hip points rolling toward the earth. Inhale, belly fills. Without slingshotting on the exhale, we're gonna release. We're gonna tuck the toes, palms under elbows, downward facing dog. Good. Now from downward dog, we're gonna step the feet a little closer. We're gonna swing the right heel high for three-legged dog. And if it feels okay, you could open your right hip a little, bend your right knee. If your back feels uncomfortable, just keep that right leg straight. We're gonna inhale to feel this fullness of the breath deep toward the pubic bones. And then exhale, knee to nose. You can come up onto tented fingers and hoist that right foot in between the hands. We're gonna find the blocks at the highest height. So this time there's a longer stance between the feet. A little bit of a longer stance than we had last time. We're gonna spin the left heel down, start to straighten the right leg. So we're gonna explore this wider stance for our Trikonasana. However wide you can make it, where you can still keep your feet connecting and the outside edge of that left foot connecting. And the right block's gonna come close to the right heel. Press through that right hand. Start to wrap your right belly towards your left belly and open the left arm up. So with a wider stance, it's a lot more intense on the inner thigh groin psoas. So we're exploring just the two different positions of the legs. Tone the ribs in. Inhale, look up at your left fingers. When you exhale, you're gonna cartwheel that left arm up alongside the ear, palm facing the earth. Keep rooting through that left foot. So we're stretching long through that left side. And then slowly release your left hand down. We're gonna swing your left heel over the toes. And you're gonna swing the right hand around onto your lower back for a twist. If you're fatiguing, you can touch your left knee down to the ground. Yeah. Engage your left gluteal. You're gonna inhale and then exhale, release. Touch your left knee down, slide your right leg back. Toes are tucked, you can remove the blocks away. Come back to active child's. Good. And then inhale, spread the heart forward. And then exhale, press back, downward dog. Good. Take your time. When you come back to downward dog, we're gonna lift the left leg high for your three-legged dog. And again, you can keep that left leg just straight where it is, or if your back feels stable, you start to open the left hip, bend the knee. Good. Keep lifting your right underarm up into the body. We're gonna inhale, exhale, knee to nose. Tented fingers can help you hoist that left foot in between the hands. Opposite foot as last time. Blocks at the highest height. Spin your right heel down, straighten the left leg. This time there's more of a space, like at least one of your leg widths in between the heels. And then we start to wrap the left belly toward the right belly and extend the right arm up. If the right side neck feels really crunched, just keep that chin neutral or even look down at your left foot. Try to spread the baby toes. And we allow this right hip point to roll forward and down a little bit. We're gonna inhale, exhale, release your right hand onto the block. Now, instead of going to the twist, first we're gonna turn the left toes in, the left heel out. Walk the blocks in between your feet, coming into a wide-legged stance. Yep. Take the blocks at their lowest setting. Plant your hands. Inhale, lift your heart, look forward. And then exhale, you can start to fold. Now, if you want to play with this a little bit, you could take the blocks at their highest height and try to bring the tops of your shoulders onto the blocks. But if that's not available at all, just don't even worry about that. You could also, another option to play with is if your head's very far off the ground, use one of the blocks underneath the crown of your head. See if you can bring the crown of the head toward the connection of a block. The two options for this fold. The breath is paramount. We'll just come back to the breath. Hands can be either on the floor or hands can wrap around the outer ankles. Prasarita Padottanasana. It's a good pose for boosting the immune system, getting the blood flow in the lymph system. So from here, dropping the tail, lift the belly, you can come on up. You can take your blocks with you, start to walk your blocks towards your left foot, turn your left toes to point straight forward, swing your right heel over the toes. And then you can have your block here at the highest setting or a lower setting. And then your left hand's gonna come around onto your sacrum. Look to the left for this twist. Remember, if you're fatiguing, you can always touch your right knee onto the earth. Engaging gluteal. We're gonna find one more inhale. And then exhale, release, bring your right knee down, scoot your left knee back, bring your knees all the way together, take a block, put it between your feet. You can hug the block in between the feet, kind of squeeze. You could use two blocks if you need to. Sit down on the block or blocks into Virasana. Take your fists and press the fists down into the tops of your feet. And you can press the fist down toward the baby toe sides of the feet and back to center. And you can lift your heart. Inhale, and then exhale, coming into center. Rest the hands on tops of the thighs. Shoulders are going to creep up toward the ears for a little squeeze. You can inhale, exhale, the shoulders roll down. And go ahead and take your right hand onto your chest, left hand onto your belly. Remember your intention for practice. Let's take an Om together. I know when I take an Om, it cuts out on the audio, but you can still use your own Om to hear the Om sound. So on the exhale. Good, cracking the eyes open. You can come forward onto all fours. And then you can reach back and remove the block, place it aside. Let's have the block handy near us. We're gonna swing the legs around and bring the legs out straight into Dandasana legs. Good. Take your bear paw hands, give a little tap on your outer SI butt area, just around the outer hip and toward the back. You can let your feet relax. Good. And then we're gonna have our hands on near toward the outer edges of the knees and slide the feet onto the ground. Take one block, put it between the inner thighs, give it a squeeze. Take the other block, put it between like your ankle. Actually, let's put it between the feet. We'll flex the feet. So it's in between the feet. You're gonna squeeze. You can let your heels rest on the ground. We're gonna squeeze the blocks. We're gonna squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. We're gonna start to lower back, keeping the squeeze. And then bring your feet onto the ground. So you have that block laying the lengthwise way in between the arches of the feet, in between the feet. And the other block is in between the inner thighs in its narrowest setting. We're gonna squeeze. We're gonna press through the feet, pick up the pelvis, take this kind of active bridge pose, squeezing that block like you're trying to eject the block down toward the earth. Like you're trying to press that block with your inner thighs downward a little bit. When you inhale, float the arms overhead, reaching the arms up. And then exhale with the arms staying overhead, start to lower down slowly, slowly, slowly until the lower back rests. And you're gonna slide the arms open toward a cactus. Now reach down, take the block from in between your legs and place it aside. And then you can use your feet to just kick that other block away. This block that we just took out from between the inner thighs, we're gonna take it at its lowest setting, its very lowest setting. And you're gonna lift up your hips and slide the block underneath your lower back so that your sacrum rests on that support of the block. Or if you don't have a block, you can use like a pillow or a rolled up a towel or a piece of clothing or anything you can put just under your sacrum to give it a little bit of elevation. And your feet, take your feet a little wider and see how it feels to let the knees move in toward each other a little bit. Let the arms rest alongside the body. We're going to take this restorative inversion. Let the lower back be totally supported by the block. Another wonderful posture for immune boosting support. An easy posture you can do every day for a couple of minutes. Some of you are on virtual are already accessing the shoulder stand variation or the supported shoulder stand. So if it feels available for you and your lower back feels stable, we can start to extend one leg up and then the other for this shoulder stand, supported shoulder stand variation, if and only if that's calling for you. Otherwise, just keep your feet on the earth. If you do have your legs up, I can recommend letting your ankles and your knees be very soft. Finding a place where it feels effortless to hold. So if you're still up in that shoulder stand, you could, if you want to stay a little longer, be my guest. If you're ready, start to slowly bend either both knees at once or one at a time and slowly bringing the feet back down to the earth. So we're going to start to think about removing the block. If you're super comfortable, you could stay here for a little longer. We're going to make our way toward Shavasana today. We're going to lift up the hips just enough to slide the block out like you're sliding out a Jenga piece from that board game. It's very slowly remove and then let the lower back rest. You can place the block aside. Windshield wiper the knees a few times, slowly back and forth. Letting the head do whatever it wants. Bringing the knees back into center, hug the knees in, give yourself a little squeeze, a little nourishing hug, massage your back on the ground. Take full happy baby pose, elbows on insides of knees, hands can reach around toward the outside ankles or the outside edges of the feet, and the soles of feet face the sky. long channel of light from crown to tail in either direction. And then go ahead and release. You can bring your knees in and let your feet rest onto the earth. And then in your own time over the next few moments, extend your legs out and make your way into your Shavasana. Clothing, socks, blankets are welcome just to get really comfortable and feel supported by the ground. Nothing you have to do but relax. Be receptive for any insight that might arise as you are still and quiet. In the stillness, sometimes the internal wisdom can become clear. All the joints of the body are softening and spacious. The breath is always available if the mind starts to drift away. Sharing a Hafiz poem I like to share often. It's called "The Wind Takes a Tree in Its Arms." 3/4 of the world dances all night, the waves moving as they do on the seas. And when the wind takes a tree in its arms, what happens then? The green branches of the earth may seem to reach out to touch us if we near them in a forest, a meadow, a field. Does not all sway to a rhythm that began long before we stood upright? We are in the mountains' home, just guests, guests of the sky, the streams, the giving soil we nurse from. Would not you be happier following their example? Bowing in unseen ways and then rising up. We come back to the life-sustaining energy of the breath, the flow of the breath, ever present, The inhale, bringing life and light through all the cells, and the exhale, doing its work to make space. Your awareness moving in its healing way, like a river flowing out into the fingers and toes, where you start to wiggle gently and wake up some sensation. And eventually, when you're ready, stretching the arms overhead, taking a reset. Gathering the knees in towards your body for a gentle hug. When you're ready, roll slowly onto the left-hand side, the side of digestion, where you're going to release and stay for a couple of moments, letting go of anything you want to release. Make space for your intention to arrive back in your mind, in your heart. Honor the effort you put in today to show up in this laboratory of yoga. And then as you're ready, use your hands very slowly to press your way on up. And we're going to slowly meet together, finding a comfortable seat together again. Sitting upright in a comfortable cross-legged Sukhasana. Easy seat. Let's reach the arms out and up. Big full inhale. Exhale, gather everything down to the center of the midline of the body, the central channel. Thumbs connect at the center chest. We're going to honor each other and this practice with a single Om on the exhale. Whoa. Wishing you health, joy, trust in your own intuition, courage, and hopefully some laughter today. Namaste. Thank you very much. Thanks for practicing with me today. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Thanks everybody on virtual. I'm going to post this one up on my YouTube channel. So it'll be up sometime this week or next week on my YouTube. Okay, bye. Thanks for coming. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, share. Okay, take care. See you next time.